Max Verstappen's Drivers' Championship victory in 2024 was hard-fought and incredibly impressive. His drive in Brazil, where he decimated the field in wet weather, was heralded as one of the best ever individual drives in F1 history and earned him plaudits from across the sport. Despite such an impressive season though, controversy is never far from the four-time world champion. Verstappen was heavily criticized throughout the season for some of his driving, but he's not happy with what has been said about him this season. Today, I'll check out the surprising things Verstappen has to say to his critics and what's happening with Sergio Perez after yesterday's premature announcement by Sky Sports. So, don't go anywhere. Verstappen's fourth Drivers' Championship will probably be the most fondly remembered by the F1 world in the years to come. 2021 will always have the season finale hanging over it. 2022 and 23 were hardly a battle, but in 2024, he really had the chance to show the F1 world that he is the best driver on the grid at the moment. In a car that was rarely the fastest, he held off the pretenders to his throne at McLaren and Ferrari by extracting the absolute maximum from every weekend, even if it meant driving at the absolute limit or sometimes beyond it. Over the closing rounds of the season, when the championship battle was reaching a crescendo, Verstappen showed a champion's mentality, similar to Schumacher's. Michael may be viewed as one of F1's best ever, but behind the rose-tinted glasses that the passing of years has given fans, he was a vicious competitor who had no issue crossing the line to ensure he won the Drivers' Championship. It was controlled aggression, but it was always available by the bucket load. With that same mentality, Verstappen put Norris in his place at the US Grand Prix and in Mexico, though he was punished for it in Mexico when it did cross a line. However, as the perfect answer to his critics, he showed in Brazil that it wasn't just his attitude which was making him the champion. It wasn't just the fact that he was willing to go to the absolute limit or even cross it. He was the champion in waiting because he was an unequaled driver. He found grip in utterly appalling conditions where no one else could. He pulled off audacious overtake after audacious overtake while the rest of the grid were just praying to make it to the end of the race. It was a champion's victory and the perfect middle finger to the growing claims that he was only champion because of his so-called unsportsmanlike driving. Those criticisms will likely never end though. Speaking to a gambling site, the controversial FIA steward Johnny Herbert said that Verstappen wins because of his use of the dark arts. It's all about intimidation. George has been having a few issues and verbal confrontations with Max. This is exactly what Max has done so well for years, using all the weapons he can, and that includes intimidation. He said it was great that a few drivers are starting to try and stand up to Verstappen, specifically mentioning Oscar Piastri and his move of a champion comment at the season finale. Despite the criticisms about his mentality and his driving style, Verstappen has insisted that he isn't planning on changing anything. Reflecting on his 2024 campaign, Verstappen says he has no regrets about his incidents with Lando Norris in Austria, Austin, and Mexico, because he feels it's necessary in F1 to cross the line at times. In an end-of-season interview with Dutch F1 broadcaster Viaplay, Verstappen was reminded of McLaren CEO Zak Brown's comments in Mexico that Max is such an awesome racing driver, I just don't think you need to drive like that. Responding to Brown's comments and the general backlash he faced on his driving behavior, he said, "Yes, but they don't have the world champion mentality. I'll always go to the limit to get the most out of every race, and if I have to force it, then that's just how it goes. Sometimes you have to cross a line. Well, I do." Asked whether he had any regrets over how he edged Norris towards the wall in Mexico, he said, "No, not at all in that race. I think I won points there. So like I said, I will always do everything to get the maximum result for a championship. And of course, sometimes you have to go to the limit or over the limit, and not everyone understands that. Not everyone has that mentality." Verstappen added the Mexico fallout, as well as McLaren's half-hearted use of team orders, were some examples of McLaren's relative lack of experience in fighting for championships, stating Norris could have beaten him to the driver's title as the team missed opportunities. He specifically attacked McLaren's papaya rules, which seemed to call on Norris and Piastri to take extra care when fighting each other. This is another nonsense quote, Verstappen told Dutch broadcaster Viaplay when asked about the phrase. "Papaya rules? That's totally useless to me. If I heard that from my engineer, I'd tell him to just shut up immediately. What kind of nonsense is this? You're allowed to race is fine. You know, that could have solved this in a way easier and better way as a team." Verstappen often had to battle a McLaren driver, usually Lando Norris, on his way to a fourth consecutive F1 driver's title. Across the season, it was McLaren who had the strongest car, leading it to a first Constructors' Championship since 1998. However, Piastri and Norris both failed to defeat Verstappen in the driver's title fight through a combination of driver and team errors. The reigning world champion recognizes McLaren had an excellent car this year, although he believes much is still to be learned by the outfit. They had a very good car this year, added Verstappen. Only I think it's also clear that they still had a lot to learn to compete consistently. Of course, they did well in the Constructors' Championship, but for the Drivers' Championship, they could have prepared it much better as well. Had the team and its drivers performed more consistently, Verstappen is confident Norris would have won the driver's title. Yes, that too, Verstappen concluded. Before I carry on with the video and cover the ever-growing Sergio Perez rumours, if you are enjoying it and want to catch some more daily F1 news, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. So yesterday, Sky Sports Germany as well as Canal Plus pulled the trigger on the Sergio Perez exit, claiming that Red Bull had made their decision and that Checo was out for 2025, with Liam Lawson stepping in as a replacement. Considering how long this story has been rolling on for and how many times it's been claimed that this decision has been made, few people were willing to get behind the claim, sensibly waiting until Red Bull made some kind of official announcement. However, considering Sky Sports aren't normally an outfit that will jump the gun on these types of announcements, it seemed the most credible claim so far that something has happened. Both outlets claimed there would be an announcement on Tuesday at some point, but that never happened. People quickly started to refute the claim, with Planet F1's Thomas Mayer posting on Blue Sky to say, "Plenty of speculation regarding Sergio Perez and Red Bull emerging this morning, but sources close to the situation have indicated that there are no confirmed arrangements just yet. Negotiations and discussions are still underway." However, Helmut Marko has confirmed that there are discussions happening behind the scenes, which are coming to a climax. Writing for Speed Week, the Red Bull advisor said, "We'll be announcing news on the driver pairing next year in the next few days." As for the figures which had been bandied about, with Nico Rosberg suggesting $16 million is being sought by the Perez camp, Marko poured cold water on the rumours. There's a lot of speculation about this, including rumours about possible transfer fees, which are complete nonsense, he said. The thing that seems to be holding up an announcement is the involvement of Red Bull shareholders in discussions. Marko has admitted that shareholders being involved in a driver decision is something he hasn't seen before. That admission hints at the fact that it is the money that Perez brings in with his sponsors that is causing problems. If it was purely a racing decision, Red Bull would have removed Perez by now. But with his big sponsors who bring tens of millions of dollars to the Red Bull team each year, he's very valuable to the team from a financial point of view. While some people have said that they could just move into an ambassadorial role and keep the sponsors, that just wouldn't happen. As soon as he's out of the car, those sponsors are going to leave, losing Red Bull a huge amount of income. Hopefully Marko is right and there will be an announcement in the coming days so that Checo, and us the fans, know one way or the other. What do you think of Verstappen's comments on his champion's mentality? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, make sure to check out f1reverse.com to get yourself some sweet F1 inspired merch. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.